Broadcasting. All right. Okay, this is Thursday, April 30th, and this is class HIS101-080L. This is our last class date before the final. I have already recorded our last 2 lectures for the semester, chapters 13 and 14. Those are already posted and ready for you to view. I've also got the last quiz posted. Instead of giving you 2 more quizzes, I reduced it to 1 quiz, which means I've got to adjust some of the scores, but I will do that on a separate situation, and I will adjust everyone's scores accordingly. Seeing as I am still dealing with a major family emergency, he's better. My husband is better, but he is still in the hospital, and we are still working out a whole bunch of issues. So that's why I want to abbreviate today's class and just give you some ideas on the final. Before I start with that, I want to remind you that May 4th, which is next, what day is that? Next Monday is the deadline for you to decide and to fill out the paperwork if you want a letter grade in my class and in all the rest of your classes. This is not my deadline, this is the school's deadline. Which means that if you want simply a pass withdraw in my class, you don't have to do anything as far as file paperwork. If you want to file the paperwork to get a letter grade, then if you will look at my syllabus, I have a grading schedule, grading scale that tells you how many points you need to get for an A, a B, a C, etc. That's all spelled out. My points are cumulative. I do not take points that you have earned away. So wherever you are standing now should be a reflection of the work you have done. If you have work you have not done, I am accepting it until the day of the final without penalty. That's kind of what I have my mitigation for this insane class, because I realized none of us had signed up for a class like this. Certainly not me, because I'm not a big fan of teaching online, but we do what we need to do. So if you want a letter grade, you need to sign up for it. If you want to pass my class with a Pass Plus, that means a grade of C or better. That means you need to get 700 points in my class. That's all. If you are 700 and a half, that's fine. That's a Pass Plus. Anything above that is a Pass Plus. So if you are at that place already, and keep in mind, I'm going to be going through the grades very carefully. I might have to do a little bit of adjustment, which means I might have to add about 75 points to everybody's score. I haven't entirely figured that out yet. Insane. Anyway, so if you simply want to Pass Plus in my class, if you've got 700 plus points, you've got it. So if you don't want to take the final, you don't have to. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I want to make sure you know I will not penalize you if you do not take the final. If you do take the final, whatever points you achieve on the final will be added to your score. So keep that in mind. If you're taking a letter grade, do not skip up the final. The final is worth 150 points. That is, without taking the final, that is worth quite a bit. That is worth an entire letter grade. So definitely you will want to take the final. So what, excuse me. What will my final consist of? Okay, I've put the instructions up. Our final will be on Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. So that's not our normal time. It is an hour earlier. So do not get caught not attending the final. If you show up at 11 a.m., you are welcome to take the final. You're just cheating yourself. I'm waiting for a call from doctors. Sorry. I have the instructions up so you can look through them and get some ideas about how to study for it. I do have some ideas on the instructions on how to study for it. I will ask you 5 questions. I want you to answer 2 of them. Each of those questions will be worth 75 points. I will not grade 3 answers from you. I will only grade 2 answers from you. So if you write an answer and you don't like it and you tell me I don't like it, and write a 3rd one, I will look at that. But I don't write 3 answers and expect me to choose the 2 best. I will only grade 2 answers. I will not grade an extra answer for extra credit, and answering all 5 is not what you should be doing. Okay. The 5 questions I will ask you, will be based, let me call up the instructions, will be based on the 5 topics. Now, this is already up on Canvas. Government, religion, art, technology, and communication. So I will ask you 1 question about government, 1 question about religion, etc. So you need to be prepared to answer 2 of those questions. Your answer should be in the form of a prose, of an essay. I'm not expecting any more. Minimum of 6 sentences, max, or 10, whatever you need to do to get the idea across. Your answers are going to be graded on content, not graded in terms of grammar or spelling. A superior answer will be one that answers the question. I don't want you just saying things about ancient Greek government. That's not the point. The point for most of these questions will be to compare 2 different groups or societies or civilizations. I will ask you a question about government, and I might ask you a question about compare how 2 societies used government to encourage trade. Something like that. Actually, that's not a bad question. Anyway, so a superior answer will be addressing the question. We'll have 2 different societies or groups or civilizations, and we'll use good, solid, concrete examples. I'm not asking for citations. but I do want you to refer to the civilization in a way that you understand it and that you are giving a full and complete answer. Now, everything is on Canvas. You do not have to come here to take the final. The questions will appear at 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 7th, and you will have the next 2 hours to work on them and submit to answers. I will, during the course of the final, probably a little bit before it, send out, pardon me, a Zoom address like this, so that if you have any questions, you can get a hold of me right away via Zoom. Or you can send me an email. I'll have my email open. So if you have to just quickly send me an email, hey, what does this mean? Then I can answer that question. But you do not have to be here to physically take the final exam. It will all be on Canvas. Okay, so I did talk about each question will ask you to compare at least 2 groups, civilizations or societies. So, how to study for this exam? Well, everything that you have read in chapters 1 through 14, and my lectures and my PowerPoints and things, videos and everything that I have put up, these are all applicable sources for you to use. You will want to, ahead of the final, look at a few of these topics. Maybe there are topics that you are interested in. Maybe there's topics you don't like at all and you want to avoid them. But don't prepare for just questions on 2 topics, because you might read the questions and not like them. You might say, I don't get it. I don't want to do that question. Well, you've just hampered yourself because you've only looked at 2 separate topics. So I encourage you, look at least 3 of these topics. Think about governments, think about groups that best exemplify those topics. Say you're talking about religion. We talked a lot about the polytheistic religions of Sumeria. We talked a lot about the polytheistic religions of Egypt. We talked a lot about the Greeks and their myths and stories and religion. We talked about the Romans. We talked about the change of Romans from polytheists to monotheists. We talked about the rise of Christianity. We talked about Islam and its creation. We talked about, and in chapter 13, I talk about the rise of the Protestant Reformation. And so you've got lots of options to look at that. So finding 2 options from that or more would be, that would not be that hard. But if you want to do government and you're looking at the Age of Discovery and the Portuguese, we didn't talk a lot about their government. They were simply a monarchical government, and we talked about one prince, Prince Henry the Navigator. So that might not be a very rich vein to mine, but we talked a lot about England and King John and the formation of the House of Lords and Parliament. We talked a lot about centralized governments in France. So there's a lot of good options. Also, you want to prepare for 3 topics at least, and you want to prepare for multiple civilizations for each topic. Because I do not want you to repeat civilizations. If you just want to say, I only write about the Romans for both of my questions, you are not going to get a very high grade. Now, if you want to compare the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire, now that's a little bit different, because those are two very separate societies. Those are two very different times. That could qualify as separate societies. But if you're just writing, you know, ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt, that's going to get you a lower score. All right. Okay. All choices should be made from groups we have talked about from the Paleolithic period until the year 1600. So if you want to write your answer about Adolf Hitler and the Second World War, this is a bad choice. If you want to write about the Inuits, who we never talked about, that is a bad choice. If you want to write about the Incas and their grand civilization, because we did not talk about them except for a very brief period during the Age of Discovery, that would be a very poor choice. So hopefully you see, keep it centralized to those groups we've talked about. There are so many different people we talked about, so many different aspects of their civilizations that you should not need to go outside of those parameters. Okay, I did say you will have 2 hours. Most students finish my final within 45 minutes. I have to keep it very simple because I have to get a lot of these and I have to grade them all by hand, and I'm very slow at doing that because I take a lot of time to consider your answer. So clarity helps. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about grammar. Do put it in a prose style. In other words, an outline does not work. That will not be graded very high. I'd like to see you use your writing skills and your skills at making an argument to put forward a good, strong case. And that means answering the question and using concrete examples, using very firm examples. All right. As I did say, I will have Zoom open, and you will have that address in case you need to contact me immediately. And you can also send me an email. I will be sitting here for the 2 hours and a little bit before, maybe a little bit after, to help you. Now, something I want to encourage you, to do, and that is to go ahead and make a copy somewhere on your computer of your answer. With all of the wonderful luck we have been having this semester, I encourage you to keep a copy, if only because something drastic might happen on Canvas. And I might have to contact you the next day and say, hey, could you email me your answer because Canvas went down. You probably don't want to rewrite it. So definitely just copy and paste it into a Word document so that you have your answer in your computer where it is safe and sound. That is all I have to say about the final. Do you have any questions for me that I can help you with? Okay. Will be any access code for the final? No, I don't think so. Really don't need it. I just will set it to not be available except for those 2 hours. Yeah, no access code. As far as, if there is an access code, I will tell you beforehand. But I don't think there will be, knock on wood. Anyway. Oh, there might be. Oh, do we have? No, I do not have extra credit opportunities. I am at this moment handing each and every student in this class, because of my mathematical missteps and because I canceled part of one of the quizzes, I am handing everyone approximately 225 points for doing nothing. So I figured extra credit, really? So will final cover all 14 chapters? You can source all 14 chapters. I am not asking you specific questions on specific times or dates. That was all done in the tests that you have already taken, or should have already taken, or will be finishing up. So you can use whatever you want to within those 14 chapters. I know I talked at the final about I'd like you to use the later chapters, but I will not penalize you if you use any of the work we covered before the final. Okay? Okay. I have a friend who grew up in New Jersey, and the favorite thing he likes to see is, "You got me?" It's like, yeah. Perhaps that's not a good thing for a professor to use. Anyway, I know this is abbreviated. I would generally be lecturing you all this time. I cannot emotionally do that at this time. I have gotten very little sleep, etc. And trying to get everything done and finish up for this semester, and preparing for summer. I'm teaching a class this summer. I honestly can't think of anything else. I have got this recorded, so I will put that up. But I encourage you to watch the last lectures. Get something out of it. The quiz for the lectures for 11, 12, and 13 is up, so you'll want to look a little bit at 13 to get the answers on those. But I weighed the questions very heavily towards chapters 11 and 12, which we did go over quite thoroughly. I can't think of anything else, but I did want to say I appreciate you all for making it through this far. In the words of theater folk, you're real troopers, and I appreciate that. Roberto, you had a question?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Your mic was up, and I was just wondering if you had a question. That's all, unless you have more questions for me. Thank you very, very much, Nazima, and thank you for your kind words. I hope he's getting better too. I think he is. I was on the phone to him this morning, and we were enjoying breakfast, and then he started vomiting. Life gets in the way of life. Anyway, I do want to thank you. I do want to appreciate you. Say that I appreciate you, and I am thankful that you have been so patient with me. I realize this is not the semester we signed up for. I was looking forward to meeting you all in person. Obviously, that's not going to happen unless, hopefully, fingers crossed, we get back onto campus this fall, and I will be teaching this fall. I'm teaching 3 101 classes and a 102 class. And your registration for fall is open. If you happen to see me on campus, certainly drop by and say hi. Otherwise, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Stay safe, and I'll be available on email and during the day of the final on Zoom.
Thank you, Professor. I just wanted
Thank
to,
you so much.
I wanted to say that I appreciate you taking the time to do all these lectures with everything that's going on. I've done online classes before, and they don't always include a lecture where I can see a teacher and, you know, actually telling me what they're wanting to get across versus me having to go at my own pace. So I appreciate you, and I hope, you know, that the best comes for you and your husband. So
Thank you so much. It's been nice to have you guys, and I hope, you know, things work out better.
yeah.
Worst comes to worst, you're going to have some great stories to tell your grandkids. Absolutely.
That's true.
I remember the spring of 2020. Anyway, take care, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.